Today I'm getting close to nature. I'm actually gonna do something that I've never done before. I'm actually gonna drive a 911 convertible. So the 991 convertible is parked behind me, and the reason for me not driving a 911 convertible before is all about beauty. This is the first, the 991, that is actually looking good. The previous models, according to me at least, was actually ugly. Driving a convertible in Sweden is normally extremely cold. I mean, in Sweden we drive convertibles with the top down from about 5 degrees. So what we do is we put something around our neck to protect us, and then obviously we need something on our heads. And I used this in the winter when I reviewed some car in the winter, and I got a lot of comments because of the Manchester brand that I had. And I could see that some of you were annoyed and someone loved it, etc. And if you still are annoyed over this cap, please send me another one. I repeat, I'm not interested in football. But when I was in England, I think it was 1 or 2 years ago, when I viewed Zlatan Ibrahimovic playing football, and I thought I need a souvenir, so I just bought this. And this is the hat I have, and if you want me to use something else, I will put an address below and you can send me one. In the meantime, I'm gonna go top down, and I'm gonna start my journey in 911 convertible. The 911 that are, let me say, equipped with a strong color extend the 911 lines, and that, as you already know if you follow me, is something that I really like. And I think I need to explain myself why I actually believe that the older 911 convertibles are ugly. And it all comes down to the design, because if you look at the design of the car and the lines, the 911 lines, put that picture on your top of your head and follow me, because the lines that we have in the 991 convertible are pure 911 solid. And actually it doesn't matter where you look at the line. It is smooth, and when you have the top down, the line is still valid. Looking at the rear end with this beautiful sport design spoiler and looking at the lines, you actually can feel the invisible 911 line, even though the top is down. And that is something that the older model cannot compete with. And even if you look from this angle, you can clearly see, put your eyes directly in the end of the line and you will see it end ups where the top begins. And that is something unique, because that's something that you cannot do with the other models. The shape of the window goes smooth to the back end lines when the top is down. Having a red color, yes, red, and contrast it from the top is creating dynamic. And I think that is an option that you really have on the convertibles. And having the contrast, I think, is one of the most important things to have on a convertible. And it doesn't matter if the top is red and the paint is black. You can actually switch between them. It doesn't matter. Let me show you how. And as you can see, with black paint and red top, the car still looks amazing, but total different car. And I must say, I really love the black colors. It has grown on me very much, especially as the metallic black, the jet black metallic, and with a red top. And thank you very much for specifying this particular car with a red top. We still have the contrast, the elegance of the convertible and what it offers.
You wear me down. My actions will be forgiven. When we first met, a simple text.
Convertible is all about connecting more to the driving. With the roof down, you get much more experience on what's happening around and inside the car. So you might say that this is all about getting more connected buying a convertible. And when I start to think about it, it must be something with an element that we discuss a lot in Porsche forums, the PDK versus the manual. When it comes to sportier driving, it depends a bit what you prefer. The PlayStation position with the gear selection at the steering wheel, or a proper gear stick. And for me, I love it. I love the gear stick. Absolutely, the PDK is much faster. There are no doubt about that. It is easier to drive, easier to shift. And especially on the small roads as I am on right now, the PDK is so brutal. The PDK is a different driving experience, but it is solid. It is you can feel it when you drive the PDK, that you get even more connected with the surroundings, because one element of shifting is taken away from your shoulders. If that is right or wrong for you is within the beholders, because there are no right or wrong when you select the gearbox in your 911. It depends a bit what you want to experience, but you will never take away the true driving pleasure that you have in the 911. If you work at Porsche and has a hangover, could you please do me a favor and stay home? In fact, I know that there are millions of Porsche enthusiasts that actually are willing to pay you for staying at home. The day you were hangover and decided to have the backside of the chair in silver metallic, that was a particular day when you should have been at home. Because this is a design element, especially if you look at convertibles. And this is distraction. Look at this car. You have a black car with a Bordeaux red top. Where do we match the silver? And the same goes for the Carmine Red. I mean, where on earth did you think that the silver would match the Carmine Red? I mean, if you are having the party of your life, we all want you to have it. But when you are hangover, going to work, stay at home. In the driver's position in any 911, you're quite privileged. You are well seated despite which chair you have chosen, and the driver's position is really great. But the problem starts when you have parked the car, and if you have become as old as I am, and you need to get in and out of your car. Then the convertible has its benefit, because when you open the door, you actually get all these extra places where you can put your hand and you can raise above the roof line, and it's very easy for you to get out of the car. And if you are not up for a swim twice or 5 times a week building your muscles, a convertible is my recommendation for you. Let me talk about the comfort and the luxury that convertible creates, because that's one part of the option of selecting a convertible. It is a much luxurious experience than the coupe. And if you again turn the windows up and the protection from the automatic, I'm not sure what that is called, wind reflective shield or whatever, but bang! The noise level I'm experiencing at this point are equal to the coupe. Yes, you get a lot of noise when you get to more sporty driving, but both with these cars, both of them are equipped with rear axle steering, and that is, as I have said so many times, the most important option to tick when you specify your 911, because that transforms the car. I've said it before, I'm saying it again. That's how important the option is. It kind of connects, it makes the car ideal on a level that could not be explained. Driving the Carmine Red GTS is like swimming in Alcantara. The GTS package that you can equip your GTS model with are, let's say, mildly tons of Alcantara. Embracing the nature actually comes with a price, because you're gonna bring the nature into your car. And looking at this car, I think someone has thought through letting the nature in. All material in a convertible will be heavily wear out, but having the change in the GTS from Alcantara to leather is the first step to preserve your car. And being in this particular car with a top down in the spectacular leather that this car has is just one dimension higher. If you specify your GTS, regardless if it is a convertible or a coupe, please considering the beautiful leather that Porsche offers. I believe we should address the wheels as well. Having a Porsche German car and address Italian wheels is a nice mix according to me, because the OZ racing wheels that this car is equipped with looks pretty good. And I think I need to address the guardrail calipers as well. We all know that I'm not a big fan of color calipers, and I think they limited the buyer of color selection on your vehicle. But in this case, when you have the guardrail combined with the Carmine Red, they actually matched. I was afraid of that the two red colors would, collide, but I think they are really good. I have seen this car in a particular tight sun lightning where you can actually distinct the differences between the car. But in normal use, I must say, it looks terrific. Two 911 Carrera GTS convertibles. on the paper the same car. That is not the case. These two convertibles are much different. They look different, and when you drive them, they deliver two different experiences. That is hard to understand when you are specifying your new 911. At the pictures, all models look the same, but ticking the option creates an individual character. Bear that in mind when you option out your car and take your time. But one thing they have in common, bringing the extra element into your driving, the nature and its surroundings. It feels, you know, I was expected sitting here speaking to you guys how, yes, I love the convertible, but when it comes to driving, I prefer the coupe. But on the B road, it's not true. I prefer the convertible. What has happened to me? Yes, it is my first time in the 911, and perhaps I'm in the middle of the honeymoon, but I genuinely believe that you get even more connection. And I was surprised because I was expecting, so to speak, not experience, I was expecting kind of the wind noise and all the turbulence in the coupe that you have on the Boxster, but in this case that never happens. It is just embracing the elements, and I also was expecting the convertible of the 911 to be much, you know, like a banana in the corner or a snake twisting around the body, but that's never happened. It is true solid. I guess if I go on a track day, I might feel a bit differences between the GTS Coupe versus the convertible, but on the B road, it's no question about it. This is a proper sports car with more elements. There are so much experience with the convertible, and I think you should embrace the possibility when you drive in slow speeds. Yeah, you heard me right, because a sports car does not always need to go on full revs, even though that is an experience of its own. But just cruising along with some friends on the highway, especially with a convertible, this is nothing that I appreciate doing with the GT3. That's just a bumpy ride. But with the 911 GTS convertible, that is actually an experience to taking under serious consideration. So my suggestion is, if you have a convertible, and try to experience the joy of the convertible in slow speed. Finally, I would like to say something about the total experience of the convertible. It is something that I would recommend all of you to try out. You have still the agility and the sportiness of the 911. You have a lower loud level, you have less turbulence in the coupe compared to the Boxster, and perhaps most important, the option to get the power and the experience in the GTS with the 450 horsepower. I think I've said earlier in my previous videos that the GTS is for everybody and for every occasion and for, you know, all tasks that you could think of. The coupe is missing out on one task, and that is bringing the nature close to your driving. I guess you can say that I am in the middle of the gravity and having all the power from the Porsches around me. Remember when I ended up the Carrera T video, I had some difficulties selecting between the blue Coupe GTS. What to say now? From my left side, I have the GT3 ending up with the Carrera T and the two GTS convertible in the middle. It is not an easy task for a Porsche customer to select the right vehicle. But between all these four, I am actually struggling what to pick. The Carrera T and the GT3 are definitely the driver's cars, but if you want to use your car in a wider range, the GTS is a proper selection. And remember what I have talked about, bringing all, and I repeat, all the elements in to you when you're driving. For that you need a convertible.